Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and today we're at Creed's Castle. So this is my grandfather's house, or was. It was just passed down to my mother and her brother, who just sold it now after a year or two of him being gone. And this was his legacy. As you can tell, it's shaped kind of like a castle. It has all the blocks going around it, and a really nice observatory at the top, which I'll show you in a minute. And I'll talk to you a little bit about it. But this was built in 1996, and you know, I was young around that time, and I helped plumb the water lines and the power and the sewer lines all down the side of the mountain, which I'll show you in a minute. But it's up here on the top of a hill, so you can see a nice drop off over here. Luckily we never fell off, but he really wanted a hilltop view with 360-degree views here, and that was the old airport, so you used to be able to watch the airplanes come in and out. And our family's done a whole bunch of flying in our lives. My parents operated a flight school as I was growing up, so I flew out of that airport quite a bit. Anyway, beautiful view up here, as you can see. And I'm just going to give you a quick walkthrough on the house one last time. Most of it's cleared out. I might be able to find some older footage where it's still has stuff in it. But my grandpa was a World War II pilot and then a doctor in Bel Air. He lived a very fantastic life, and this was what he wanted to do with it, so I'll kind of show you around. So the property line starts where that sign is, if you can see it, that realtor sign. And it kind of goes along here. It's a few acres up, just basically the top of the hill is what he owns. He does not own the road from here down. And when we were younger, my brother and I would have to come out with brooms and sweep all the big rocks down where your wheels would go on each side, all the way from the top to the bottom. And it made a quite a nice smooth ride, actually, but it was kind of a not so fun thing to do. But we'll take you here and show you inside. Okay, coming to the front, had a nice crest here on the door. And this is actually a crest from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it shows here, "Charity never faileth." So that was kind of a seal that that he wanted. So that was the first thing that you'd see. And when you come in, the first thing you would find is a knight in shining armor, and here he is. His name was dubbed Sirloin, and I've put his helmet on a few times. On the ground, the state seal of Utah, which was pretty cool. Okay, so keep in mind this house was built in 1996, so it's pretty old. It's gonna need a whole renovation, but it had some really nice toilets and a bidet, and that was kind of a interesting thing. He spent some time in France and Switzerland, and so he had bidet faucets and everything. The house was really something back in its heyday. It's hasn't aged very well, and it's gonna have a renovation. But anyway, this was the view from a bedroom here, which was really nice. At night the lights are really nice, and it had a good sized swimming pool, which he needed for code, since there was no available fire hydrants. He had to have enough water in case there was a fire. You'll see a water tower over there, which did not exist when we were building this place, and so off the side of that mountain going all the way down is where we trenched lines going down to a power utility station, and there's pumps that pump, you know, the utilities up. So I'll show you that a little more later. But The spiral staircase here was an interesting feature, and he asked my little sister, what color should I have for the stairs? And she said, Grandpa, why don't you put a different color on every stair? And he laughed and said, oh, sweetheart, they won't let me do that. And she said, why, Grandpa? It's your house. And so he laughed, and he loved my little sister. And so that's what he did. And he dubbed this Lucretia's staircase, as his mother's name was Lucretia, and my sister's middle name was Lucretia. So it has different colors going up all the stairs. One thing I loved about my grandpa is he had a great love for trains. And so here's an LGB train, very nice train set. And as you can see, back in the 80s when he bought this was a $1,950 engine only. So they're expensive, nice trains. And his goal was to have them run throughout the entire house. In the end, they basically just had it here in this kind of living room down here as it would run around. And it was always a fun feature to see. And this, you can see these were hung a little bit lower, but there was a pool table that used to go through here. So moving inward here, this is the master, and nice master closet for its day. And here's his bedroom, which has an F4U Corsair as the fan, which is really cool. We loved that when we were little. And here's the view from his bedroom, which is beautiful of the city, especially at night. And when we would come up, I remember he had a TV right here in front of his bed, and we would watch Jay Leno late at night, and there was a ring-tailed cat that would jump up on the ledge from on the outside of the house and walk around and look in at us. And let's see, there's a little ledge here for it to be on, so that was kind of fun. And he has a window here going into a bathroom. Really a nice marble shower for its day. It was really neat. And here's his master sinks, another bidet, toilet, and you can see the gold theme from the 90s. And he had these signs all everywhere: toilet tissue only in the toilet, please. So he was a funny character. And I'll try to patch in some pictures of what it was like when he was living here, because this whole wall was filled with every wedding invitation that he ever got. It was really important when he got one to put them up there, so really nice. And he was a character as doctor. He had the doctor kind of attitude, and just a great guy. Here's the laundry room with a very big tank. Okay, so this huge tank is would pump water up into it about halfway, and then it's pressurized, and that's how you would have the water pressure in the home. So really cool here. He had some cold storage that would go up here, and I'll show you when we get upstairs. There's a little access panel coming out of the back door. So laundry room here. And this is just to the carport, which was, you know, for being up on the hill, I'm surprised he didn't have a enclosed garage. And then it had like these submarine style portholes, which were really cool. And a solar panel system that would actually fill full of water. It would heat that water to heat the pool, but it never really functioned properly. But now we'll go ahead and head upstairs. And my friends and I, when we would sleep over, we would run as fast as we can in red, yellow, blue, orange, black. You could never step on white. Had to step over white, and of course no shoes like I have now. But this is the second level here, and just a room here that's being cleaned out still, so sorry for the mess. But you can see this huge, beautiful view, big window here, and does get very windy up here, and you will see these windows flex in and out. Nice golf course view here. My home that I grew up in was right about there, up against that hill. So we could always see Grandpa's house from here. Okay, the stairs continue. We'll go up there in a minute. Here's the upper living room. And a feature that was kind of neat is he would put up here what you're looking at out each window. So those are the Shivwitz Mountains. This is out towards Kayenta, Snow Canyon. So he had it all labeled so you know where you're looking as you're looking out over the view. Going into the kitchen, it's really neat. As I mentioned, he was a World War II pilot, and so he had a lot of these airplanes painted onto these tiles, along with some of our flight instruction planes that we had when we were little. This was the plane that he owned, a BT-13 Vultee, beautiful airplane, sold to another guy, and I can put the link in the description to his channel where he still flies it. We would polish that plane all the time. Beautiful plane. And anyways, all these different airplanes coming through here is kind of a fun feature. So here's the back. So beautiful view out here. In that cold storage, you can see the little trap door here. And so that's how you have access to that. And at one time, this back door was shattered when he was out of town. People broke in and trashed the whole place. And he had a Declaration of Independence that was the whole size of this wall. And they ripped it up, and he found pieces of it in a dumpster. He was disgusted. Dago Red, if you know anything about the Reno air races, that airplane used to be based here in the at that airport that I just showed you. So we saw that plane every once in a while in its hangar and watched it race and win first place several times. But anyway, here's the kitchen here. And in this bathroom, this was really neat. You had a porthole type window inside the tub, so you had a really cool view here. And then another window up top too. Now we'll continue upstairs here. And this was an addition to the house, which was later made. But he continued with the theme with the different colors coming up. And it gets real crazy here at the very top. Look at this carpet. He was one who loved bright colors. And so, this is the observatory. And you can just see 360 degrees of a beautiful view. So here's the pool, and it was actually one of the very first infinity pools, meaning when you're in it, it would overflow and go down into a trough, so it had a disappearing edge. So when you were sitting inside the pool, it would look as if the water just went out into the desert wherever you were. And it was really cool. It was always freezing cold. No matter how hot it is up here, the wind always blows. But we loved and spent a lot of time in this pool. It was really neat. And it is pretty deep even. Underneath the pool is kind of a creepy but fun little storage area. Lots of spiders. Okay, so all the way down here, this is where we had to get power and water and the sewer line all trenched. So my grandpa would pick us up, my brother, my older sister, and me, and we would come up here and slave, you know, as young kids. I mean, we're talking anywhere just barely around 5 years old, because I remember when I got to go to kindergarten, and that meant I didn't have to come up on the hill. But we dug all these lines down, 3 different ones, the power, the sewer, and the water line, all had to be individual trenches, all the way down here to that little kind of utilities place there. That's where we had to make it go. So it's quite a distance from here, and digging, you know, 6 inches or a foot down all the way, that was a really long process, and he did a lot of it on his own. And so yeah, it was kind of a thing, and I have a lot of stories on that, including the time where we were telling him to be careful with a tamper bar, and he wasn't, and he fell right off, and we had to run down to the houses and call an ambulance for him. When we got towards the top here, he rigged up a sewer pipe, and he would have sand dumped here, and we would shovel it down the sewer pipe for him, and he'd be at the bottom using it as a chute and direct the sand. And I remember we were playing king and queen, so basically my brother and I and my sister would take turns. One of us would get to be the king or queen for my sister's case, while the other 2 shoveled. One at least would get to take a break and chill out. But anyway, interesting legacy. That was a battery house there with a solar panel that would at least power his room. That's all it would really power. But this is Creed's Castle. Just wanted to make a quick video since the house is sold and my parents, or my mother, is closing and moving out of this on Monday. So anyway, thanks for watching.